Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jory McDonald. I'm the Southern Living Fellow here, and today Courtney Whitmore is joining me. She's the author of Pizzazzerie, which just came out 3 weeks ago.
It did, 3 weeks ago.
She's going to show us some of her favorite tablescapes.
I am. I'm excited to be here. The book came out and it's all different tablescape ideas and party food recipes. So what I thought I'd do is bring four of my favorites from the book, and kind of go over tips and ideas for each of them.
I love it.
Yeah.
What are we going to start with?
Fall. So finally the weather is sort of getting a little cooler, at least down south. So I thought I would share a fun fall party that you can get inspiration for Thanksgiving or Friendsgivings or just kind of anything in that fall season. So in the book we have this on like a really long wooden table in the backyard with fun throw pillows as chairs. So it doesn't always have to feel like a formal tablescape. Sometimes you can just kick the chairs aside and sit down on fun pillows. So I kind of blended a lot of my favorite metallic colors, so copper and golds and oranges, and just pulled them together for a fun tablescape, and just little details that I love, just copper martinis and just fall leaves, and really use things you have around the house. So don't feel like you have to rush out to the store and get it all. So these are just lanterns I had, and simple candles inside. Just grab pine cones, grab them from the yard, it's allowed. Set them down in there, and just different little ideas that I pulled together for a fun fall party.
Yeah, I love the lanterns. I feel like you don't see that often. How did you come up with that?
Yeah, well, sometimes I do love a taper candle, but every once in a while you'll get one that drips all over everything, and you're thinking, what do I do now? You know,
Right.
So lanterns can kind of be nice because it just kind of controls everything, and then you don't have to worry about that. And I love clear ones because you can drop a few things down in it, and then you can use it later as decor, or pull it from your house. Like walk your house, and you might even have things that you don't realize that are perfect as centerpieces, so you don't have to run out and buy everything. So.
Yeah. And when you're focused on like your fall tablescapes and you have all these this beautiful thing to do, and you have all these things, how do you prepare? Like, what is a good appetizer to prepare quickly to like something delicious to give your guests when you're spending all your time on this?
It's a good point. So a lot of times you do focus so much on the table that by the time you're like, what am I going to serve these people who now want food? So I love to serve little bite-sized things. I think it's easy, especially just right up front, right when people get to the party. I have a little recipe for these little baby pimento cheese toast cups, which are my favorite, and they're down in the book. But if you don't have time to do that, just get phyllo cups. You can fill them with pimento cheese, chicken salad, like anything, little buffalo chicken dip, anything, spinach artichoke dip, I could go on. So phyllo cups are my favorite thing. Just keep them in your freezer, and then you can pull them out. You can even do sweet ones, like you know, marshmallow and chocolate chips, like a little s'more. So there's a lot of ideas. So phyllo cups, go get them.
Sounds delicious.
And another fun detail that I love to do are little stir sticks. So these are like actual real acorns.
Oh, stop, I love that.
Just use an ice pick to make a little hole, put a wooden skewer, and then you have a fun little stir stick. It takes a few seconds. And, and a lot of people see a table and they think, that looks overwhelming, or I don't want to do all that. Pick one or two of your favorite ideas. You don't have to do every little thing, so to still have a great party.
We have a lot of people that love your monogrammed napkins.
Yes, I think that's such a fun idea, and you can just choose any color scheme, and you can have them throughout the year, or if you want a color that I tend to think that goes well with a lot of parties, I really like red and white. Obviously the orange looks great here because it's fall, but the red's great for Valentine's Day, patriotic holidays, Christmas. So I tend to like to recommend, if you're starting out entertaining, get a great set of red monogram napkins, because I think you'll use them a lot.
And monograms are so quintessentially Southern, so it's like
you'll never regret it. They're fun, and they're just a good way to personalize the party.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And one other last thing that I love to do is just to give a sweet little favor. So these are just baby bread, like pumpkin bread. You can do any of your favorite things, and you can get this too at the store. Don't feel like you have to make everything, but if you have time, do it. If you don't have time, don't worry about it. And we just wrapped it in raffia. And then I also sprinkled little baby Lent truffles down the table. Just a fun thing to kind of get people eating and enjoying and mixing and mingling. And that's really what it's all about. So.
Love that. I love this large acorn as well.
I know. And so sometimes it's fun to just add little pops of decor and fall leaves. But just use things you have. Again, go out in the yard. Don't feel like you have to spend a lot to make it look good.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome.
So this one, this is actually our cover. And I just kind of made a mini version of all of it. But this is my favorite. So I'm in my early 30s, and a lot of times people want to celebrate birthdays, and you're thinking, I don't really want to go to a bar or restaurant, but I still want to do something more fun than just like my everyday with my girlfriends. And so invite them over and throw your own birthday party. So, or throw it for a friend. So anything you want to do. But this one is lots of hot pinks and oranges and corals. And I just love using like a store-bought bakery cake with fresh roses down in it. And one question I get a lot is, how do you keep the roses from wilting if you've done this? And you can get these at Michael's craft stores. You can put the roses with water down in here and put this down in there. And so that way you kind of make sure the roses will stay fresh all the way through your party.
Yeah.
But make a homemade cake, there's a recipe in the book, or just get one from your favorite bakery.
Awesome.
Another question I get a lot is tablecloths, and people say, where'd you get that tablecloth? Or you always have the cutest tablecloths. It's hard to find tablecloths that are not just solids and that are already made, and you're on the hunt, you're thinking, I can't find anything. Go to the fabric store. I love to wander the aisles of a fabric store, so I love any excuse to do that. But as long as you don't get one that's like too thick of an upholstery fabric, just get one that has a little bit of movement. The supplies and the options are endless. And so just walk the aisles and pick up some fun fabrics. Then you're thinking, I don't really want to pull up a sewing machine. Like, how am I going to make this into a tablecloth? Two things. One, you can just do a fringe border, like let it fringe and then just cut it even. Or two, just use no-sew hem tape. Like, nobody really has time to be pulling out the sewing machine for all this. So don't feel like you have to. No-sew hem tape. Get it at the craft store. It's amazing. Then you can cut it to whatever size you want to fit your table. So that's what I did here. It's also what I did here. And then I kind of tied it in. The fabric actually had some coordinating ones that came with it, so I used those for napkins. And one of my favorite details, you know how kids' parties always have party horns and party hats? They don't just have to be for the kids' parties. You can take a party horn and pop off the gold or silver end. So usually they have like a colored end. Just pop it off. You can pull it straight off. Then take the party horn and wrap it. Just use any glue you have. I like E6000 glue or hot glue. Roll it around there in the fabric, just one thin piece of the fabric, and then trim it. It'll still blow like a party horn. You could also do this with scrapbook paper or wrapping paper, or you could probably even do it with like a thin wallpaper if you loved it. I mean, whatever you want, you can kind of get in there, and it's a crafty project without taking too much time. Right. I like DIY, but I like it to work and not take me hours.
That's smart. That's smart. Tell us about these long stem glasses. I feel like you don't see them that often.
Yeah, I really love like a long stemmed champagne or a coupe. These are actually just from Bed Bath & Beyond. The line is Olivia and Oliver, and I love them. They also make the plates, and that's one of my number one questions I get is what things should you start out getting if you want to entertain? Like, what's your one must-have?
Right.
White plates, and these have a gold rim, and these two don't. But all three of these table settings, at least three here, all use white plates, but they're all so different, and so you can jazz it up with any color. And same with glassware. These have a few little gold touches, but I tend to like a clear because you can kind of use it for any holiday, and then you just don't end up having to own too many different kinds of things, although I tend to hoard party supplies, so I do tend to have a lot of things. But if you're getting started out, you don't have to.
Good foundational pieces, I feel like, have white plates and clear glasses.
Yeah.
And I feel like the long stem glasses just make everything look fancier.
You do feel a lot. Even if you're just serving ice water or like a fruit tea, like serve it in a fancy glass. Like, we don't have time for those to be sitting in the fancy china hutches for the rest of our life. So pull them out and use them.
I think we're going to be right back, guys. Going to take a small break, but join us afterwards. Hello. Thanks for joining us again.
We're back.
Yeah.
I was just sharing my favorite ideas from this tablescape. One other one that I really love are the laser cut names. And a lot of people will ask, where'd you get those? And I painted them myself. I just had them unfinished wood. Go to Etsy, type in laser cut wooden signs. The back of the book also has a full resource guide, but go to Etsy, type in laser cut names, and you can find different vendors that'll make those for you. And they're just really fun because people can take them home and put them on their desk or use them down the road somewhere.
It's an awesome party favor. It's, again, like a great way to personalize it. I feel like that really brings anything to the next level when you have those little personal touches.
I do. I love to add something, and even if it's down at this Charleston table, even if it's just made out of paper and you print off something, sometimes you can do that in 5 minutes before the party starts, and it's just those little details that people make them feel special, make them feel welcome.
That's awesome.
I think maybe we'll talk about this one. Yeah. This is one of my favorites in the book. It's a blue and white, just outdoor luncheon, and it has some Charleston touches. I grew up there when I was younger and just fell in love with the city, and so I wanted to do something that just had little Charleston touches, but what I want to tell you in a minute is just different ways to add city touches to parties, because I feel like so many people, whether they're hosting a going away party or moving in party or rehearsal dinner, they want to add touches of the city down into a tablescape. So for this one, I just chose, again, I went to the fabric store, found a gorgeous blue and white fabric that I loved, then had a different kind of monogram napkin made, and added in touches like the Rainbow Row cookies as favors, and did different colors, and they're kind of a fun little cookie favor that is a little nod to Charleston. And
so cute.
And you'll also see it on the little place card. So I had a friend paint little baby Rainbow Row, and then we just had the name added on, and it's just a cute little place card that is kind of, again, a nod to Charleston. But you could do it with any city, so whether it's a cityscape or something, like I live in Nashville, so I've thought about doing a Nashville party with like little guitars and stuff like that, and serving Nashville food, so that's on the to-do list, is get to a Nashville party. But anyway, these are just fun ways to do this. And I also love to have fresh mint. Mint is one of those things, if you don't have a green thumb, because I don't have a green thumb, I can't kill mine. I mean, I can't. And Nashville's hot this summer, and I have not been able to kill it. So that's one thing that I think is a great thing if you have room to grow some mint, because you can pull it out and serve it in a little bowl or a little ice maker, and then just put it down into drinks and things like that. So it's a good one to have.
It's a great little garnish. Yeah. And I love that you can like just personalize it to any city you want, like whether it's the French Quarter in New Orleans or like in Atlanta or Nashville, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you can do what you want with it.
I know, and I feel like rehearsal dinners especially are where people really like to do that. But any city probably has some local foods or local food vendors that are really popular, or a type of food or a type of drink, and you can serve those or give the food as a favor, and it's just easy and fun to do. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
And you mentioned that you get your tablecloths a lot of times from fabric stores. What do you think makes like a good tablecloth? Like when you're walking down the aisle, what catches your eye?
I like bright colors, but I have some more muted ones in the book, but I like bright colors. I like to kind of keep it to 1 to 3 colors. This one's mostly blues, but you'll see some navies, some lighter blues mixed in. I think that just kind of helps give it interest.
Right.
This one's pinks and corals and oranges, so I like to kind of to hone in, and it just makes it easier when you're walking around or getting flowers and it's not super multicolor and you kind of don't know where to go. So I like to keep it to 1 to 3 colors, and kind of makes it easy.
That's great advice.
Yeah. And then these were just vases I use around my house. This is in my kitchen on the normal basis. So again, like I said down there, don't be afraid to walk your house. So you might have things that you think, oh gosh, I can just pull that out and make it a centerpiece, especially things that are low. I'll talk about that a little down there, but I like a low centerpiece so people can still talk across each other, and use flowers from your garden if you have them. You know, don't feel like you have to run out to a florist. So make it your own and use the things that you already have in your house.
That's great.
This one, this is actually on the back of the book. This is a book club party, but I think it gives a lot of inspiration for game nights or, you know, birthday party. I mean, kind of anything you want to make it. So what we did here is I kind of recreated it. It's a very long charcuterie board on the back of the book, but I did a mini version for you here, so I can kind of show you what it looks like. So I used wooden craft letters from, I think these are from Michael's, and just spelled out the word book club, but you could spell anything. You could spell happy birthday, you know, happy, you know, congratulations, anything, happy anniversary. And then I used books, just old books, to raise it up a little. And like I said earlier, I really like a low centerpiece. It's frustrating when you sit down at a party and you can't see the guests except to the immediate left and right of you. And you're kind of wondering, like, I wonder how you're doing across there. So here you really don't have to worry about it. So just low centerpieces are easy. And so, and using it as kind of an edible centerpiece. So make the charcuterie board the actual centerpiece.
Right.
And then I just use little foods to make a charcuterie board. So I like always serving something sweet, like blackberries or grapes and peach slices, with savory, so almonds or walnuts or prosciutto, and just kind of making it, pull out your favorite flavors and pull out seasonal flavors. So figs are in season or peaches are in season. It's easy and it's fun to do, and it's kind of gets everybody mixing and mingling and enjoying. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you have going on up here?
Yeah, so if it is a book club, I thought it would be a really fun way to incorporate the book that everybody's reading and to make it a placemat. So we just took the cover of the book and printed it out, and I believe that's an 11 by 17 or 11 by 14, and it's a great placemat size. And then instead of feeling like you have to serve a plated meal, because sometimes a book club, you just kind of want to eat some appetizers and chat, and you don't want to serve like a full meal.
Right.
We just did baby boards. I actually got these from Webstaurant. It's an online restaurant supply store, so they have a lot of fun things. You can get them in bulk, and they're super affordable. And just let that be everyone's little baby charcuterie board.
I love that. I feel like that's the things people remember, is like those little unique details.
Yes,
So people
yes.
are like, oh, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
And for a table, you don't have to sit down to a plate. So I feel like you can kind of, there aren't a lot of rules. There's a few, but you don't have to follow them either. So, and those are fun because guests can take them home if they want. And we also did, as a favor, little baby cookbooks, which I thought was fun for a book club party. Why not? So you don't have to give a favor at a party. I just find it fun. And if you find something that's fitting, it's a fun way to kind of give guests something on the way out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and one last idea I really love, and this couldn't be easier. Again, for DIYs, I like things that work and things that are easy. But this is just a vase with flowers, and then we wrapped it in book pages, and then just a little bit of rope or twine.
Oh my gosh.
So just take any glass vase. It could even be a colored vase that doesn't match because you won't know because you'll wrap it in book pages. So just easy ways to incorporate little personalized touches that fit your party theme.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah. So, do we have any questions, or is there anything?
I think you answered them all. We have lots of people really love the pink tablescape
Oh, good, yay.
and the low profile centerpiece.
Yes,
Awesome.
it's just really important to have something that you can see over. And I like just kind of the edible centerpiece. I like the idea that it doesn't have to be flowers. I love flowers. I use them, as you see. I use them here and here, but don't feel like you have to. That's one of the rules I think people feel like they have to have it at a party. And you can add that living touch with just fresh sprigs of rosemary or lavender down in a drink. And you can kind of get that greenery feel without feeling like you have to go to the florist. So just think outside the box and use things you already have at home. And you'll find good ideas in here too. So,
Well, thanks so much for joining us. This has been so great.
thank you.
Awesome.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye, guys.